In our world, issues are abundant and many people attempt to tackle them. However, some issues are intimately familiar to you because they are part of your lived experience. Researching something related to your journey not only makes the process more enjoyable, but also allows you to delve into information you've been curious about. Your first-hand knowledge allows you to identify nuances and complexities that others might overlook.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Shore from TIES and the STEM Learning Ecosystem Community of Practice, and I'm part of the team organizing the 2025 National STEM Festival presented by EXPLR. We're thrilled to have you join us for our 3-part Science Fair Masterclass series, where you'll learn how to submit an incredible project to the 2025 challenge. You could be awarded a trip to Washington, D.C. to present your project to STEM and government leaders and the public. It's going to be an incredible weekend in March filled with fun, networking, meeting other young inventors and problem solvers, and a ton of educational opportunities. I'm so excited to introduce our first special guest today, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a high school senior at Dundalk High School. She's passionate about STEM and volunteering. She's a student ambassador for the Maryland STEM Festival and has completed multiple programming projects and volunteers with the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy. Elizabeth wowed the judges with her project, Uber Nourish.
I won the inaugural National STEM Challenge earlier this year, and I'm happy to give advice to help the next generation of STEM champions make a difference with their projects. So let me explain how I made a difference with my project, Uber Nourish. The story of Uber Nourish started when I saw the only grocery store within a mile of my house close down, turning our community into a food desert. This had a big impact on people around me. Parents had to settle for less healthy food from dollar stores because they couldn't get nutritious options easily. While my family was able to shop at other stores, many in our community couldn't. Seeing this struggle up close made me realize how crucial it is to have access to good food. It inspired me to create Uber Nourish, an app to help people facing food insecurity find healthier food options. To actually make an impact with this project, and not just have it sit in my Xcode library, I reached out to local food banks and had them test my app and give feedback. They gave positive feedback and said that my app was easy to navigate and understand, perfect for those who may not be great with technology. They also said that my app provided viable solutions to food insecurity in my community with features like a food bank lookup, AI generation of healthy meals, and coupons updated weekly. To make a difference with your project, reach out to the demographic that your project serves. Have them look over and even test the project. Ask for feedback. Ask how the project can be improved to better address the issue and record your findings.
Elizabeth, this is one of my favorite pieces of advice, I think, because I think a lot of people get an idea, they want to help a community, and it's really, really common that people set out to help a community without ever actually asking that community what they need. And this is something that you addressed, it sounds like, really early on. So I'm curious what feedback you've gotten from the community about your app. How did they help you shape it?
The AI generation of healthy meals and the coupons feature were not originally included. This was included after I talked to my community. The app was not developed yet, but I kind of just laid out a basic prototype or a basic idea of how the app would be. And I asked them, what do you think would help you the most? And coupons were really popular. So a lot of people wanted coupons within the app, coupons to local grocery stores, exclusive deals. So that was one feedback that I got from the community that I included within my app.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We have another 2024 champion alumni joining us shortly. But first, let's hear from Broadcom Foundation's Paula Golden.
Over the years, Broadcom Foundation has worked with hundreds of young people who've submitted science projects to various competitions. And one of the things we've learned is that most projects come out of a personal experience or inspiration that comes out of the child's life. It's not necessarily a project that comes from the air or from book learning, but rather from an experience that's very personal. So when you're thinking about your own science project, think about things that matter to you in your community, with your family, your friends, your parents, your grandparents, an experience that actually has touched your life, and find the science in that. It's a great way to create a science project that's truly inspirational.
I have another special guest for you all. Alex is from Salt Lake, a rising freshman at Yale, and aims to receive his bachelor's in computer science. He aims to use his passion for computer science and language to help his deaf cousins by making sign language translation models. Alex's project, translating ASL through machine learning, is poised to make a big difference, and he created a brilliant invention because of a personal connection.
I did a project based on the struggle of language acquisition that I both experienced and observed. Growing up, I needed help with language. I knew 3 languages, yet was fluent in none, which made school particularly challenging compared to other kids. However, my struggles weren't as bad as that of my cousin who is deaf. Teaching her American Sign Language, ASL, a language we didn't know, was nearly impossible. Observing her struggle with language acquisition and communication left a lasting impression on me. Years later, this experience profoundly influenced my project on ASL translation. I understood the implications of my project because I had witnessed my cousin's difficulties not only with learning a language but also with communication in environments lacking appropriate resources to accommodate her needs.
I think something that a lot of us in this space who are trying to solve problems do is we think about these big global issues, and those are really, really important. Solve the global issues. But a lot of times it's not only a little bit easier, but as you mentioned, you get additional insights and passion when we're thinking about problems that have directly impacted us or our families, or our communities. It's really a great, great place to start. There are things we can be improving everywhere. Alex, I wonder what the impact of your project has been. Has your cousin been able to use it? Have they found it helpful?
My model is not to the point where it can be fully usable. After the STEM festival, I was able to increase the amount of signs in my sort of repository of vocabulary for my models, and have been working with a online school in Mexico to sort of use my models to help teach American or Mexican Sign Language online.
Very, very cool. I'd love to hear about that evolution. All right. So Elizabeth, Alex, a number of the former champions submitted some questions. We asked them, what would you have liked to have known when you were creating your project, when you were submitting your project? And they submitted those questions. We'd like to ask some of those to the two of you to give that knowledge to the next generation of national STEM champions. So I wonder what strategies we can use to gather relevant data and evidence from personal experiences. So, I've got this issue. I see it every day. I have family members who struggle with it or community members who struggle with it. But how am I gathering data and evidence in that sort of scenario? Alex?
I feel like we often attribute data to being something numerical, but that isn't necessarily the case. It can include insights from those who experienced an event with you and the perspective on your approach to an issue. However, some projects do benefit from numerical data, and for these, I recommend reading published work on what has been done and exploring their datasets. Consider if you can analyze or use the data differently to gain new insights or perspective. Additionally, combining quantitative insights with qualitative data can provide a more comprehensive understanding of the issue, enhancing the depth and impact of your project.
So I wonder, when we're thinking about these projects, we need the data, right? We've got to have the kind of scientific side, but we also need to be able to communicate these ideas to a really broad public in order to be able to expand it to reach its full potential. So I wonder about some of the best ways to communicate the importance and impact of your projects to others. Elizabeth?
To communicate the importance of your project to others, show how many people are impacted by the problem that your project is addressing. So a great strategy to do this is by quizzing. You can quiz those in your community on different issues within your community. You can also use statistics, studies, and even personal anecdotes. Make sure to properly convey how your project solves the problem and how it's even more effective than other projects addressing that same problem.
Always be thinking about the story that you're going to tell. Make sure that you reach out to the people who you're trying to impact and address, and reach out to them early. Make sure that they see your prototypes, make sure they see your journey, because they're going to give you a lot of guidance and a lot of insight that you might not see otherwise. This has all been really, really great advice. Alex, Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today and for helping the next generation of national STEM champions. And thank all of you for watching this. We're really, really excited to see those projects.